expose him.
So you believe in false prophets?
There is false prophets. I believe there's false prophets and true prophets. But because it is so easy to differentiate between who is a scientist, who is not, so it's more so be easier to differentiate between a true prophet and a false prophet. Because the truth from God is so clear. Clearer than the truth that a human being we can represent. So my point here is, look, you know you should worship the Creator. Correct? Okay. The Bible. Do you accept the Bible has been changed?
When you say changed, it's like change and translation are two different things. So it depends what you're talking about. Do I believe that the original writings of the Bible have been modified or translated? I mean, because it's important to differentiate between the two.
I'm talking about the true teaching of Jesus is been what? Corrupted. People changed it. For example, the teaching of Jesus was not about for him to die for your sins. That is not the teaching of Jesus. Jesus did not come to die for no one's sins. Why? Because when you look at the Old Testament teaching, that was not the teaching of Moses and Isaiah and Jeremiah and Abraham. Jeremiah and Abraham, clearly in Ezekiel, that if you commit sin, you should be responsible for it.
So you believe in Ezekiel then?
I believe in the prophets and messengers, yes.
So you believe in Ezekiel?
Ezekiel, yeah.
So...
Hizaqil, Arabic for Hizaqil.
Okay.
Yeah.
So which prophet don't you believe in?
Which prophet don't believe in? Like I'll tell you one of the prophets which is people believe in. There's a group called Ahmadis. His name Ahmad means a ghulam.
A group?
Yeah, they follow a so-called prophet, yeah.
Okay.
So they follow a prophet called Ahmad Ghulam Mirza. I don't accept him to be a prophet of God. He's a false prophet. He's a liar. Also, there is, whose name? Whose name? The one from the Mormons. They follow whose name?
John Smith.
Whose name?
John Smith.
John Smith or something like that. He's a false prophet. I don't believe that.
Why do you believe he's a false prophet?
Because the false prophet, they can be exposed easily by their teaching. There is no teaching from the prophets and messengers that if you worship God, you become like God as well. That's not the teaching of the true prophets and messengers.
So, what do you believe to be false teaching?
False, as I told you, false prophet that is coming to clearly with the teaching that clearly got against the previous prophets and messengers. Also, he believes in the Trinity. That is not true prophet. True prophet doesn't believe in the Trinity.
Joseph Smith didn't believe in the Trinity.
He did. He didn't.
Trust me.
I spoke to Mormons. Mormons believe in Trinity.
Trust me.
Bro, I'm not saying right.
It's up to you.
But maybe
it's up to you.
And like the lion.
Well, listen, it's important to know the true doctrine. And the thing is with me, I'm the sort of person, before I write you off, before you get crossed out on my list, I have to know what you're about.
Yeah.
So, any denomination or any belief system, I've said, you know, that's not true. They're not true. I have to know their core beliefs, and it has to be accurate. I can tell you for sure that Mormons don't believe in the Trinity. So
I'll be speaking to Mormons. I don't know how I'm speaking to them.
So what's your name?
Shamsi.
Shamsi?
Yes, Osman.
So,
Yeah.
Shamsi. See, and that's the thing. You can so easily write off a denomination based on something you've heard or even maybe someone you've spoken to. It's important to study the teachings properly. Because if you study the teachings properly, you don't say, oh, well, I spoke to someone who was that. That person might not even be a true representative of their faith. But you've spoken to them, you've got information from them, and you're going to be thinking, okay, from what that person said, that's what they believe. But it could be wrong.
How do you know the Mormons they don't believe Trinity?
Because I'm very, very pedantic in my research and my study. And I've researched and I've studied.
I'll tell you, Mormons they do, but anyway, that's the truth. But let's go to the main point. Because why? I'm not talking about Mormons, you know, Mormons, other Mormons.
No, it's important to get things correct.
No, I believe I'm correct. You believe you're correct. Now we have to go back to the Mormons teaching, which is the Bible, the blue one and the, you know what I'm saying? No. But anyway, let's go back to the main point.
Wait. Should I tell you why it's important? The reason why it's important we get off on the right foot, even if we're going to have a regular discussion, it's important we get off on the right foot. And we don't
You don't generalize.
also have the information. Because I hate to speak about like a particular topic or have a discussion, and it's on false data.
There's no problem with it. It's true. But I'm saying,
Do you accept that Mormons believe in the Heavenly Mother as well? As well as the Heavenly Father?
When you you're talking about Mormon doctrine, you know. However, there has been speculation within Mormons who've explored.
Okay, specifically Joseph Smith then. Joseph Smith. Does he accept the belief in a heavenly mother? Because according to his books, he does.
I'm just, when you say books, can you tell me which book you're talking about? It's important to see.
Yeah, sure.
History of the Church by Joseph Smith.
History of the church.
History of the Church by
Wait a
Joseph
minute, so are we talking about the Trinity, which I was talking about Shamsi right here?
It's not my kind
Because Shamsi, I know Shamsi, we're having a discussion. Now you come in.
I just wanted to juxtapose it with the Trinity, because if you...
Can I finish? If we're having a discussion, it's important that it doesn't get out of hand.
Yeah.
And it's important that we have a discussion, even though you might have a point you want to bring up, and I mean it turns into tit for tat. We can do that all day.
I understand it.
We can do that for days.
Because it's related to the Trinity.
Yes.
The Holy Mother is not the Holy Mother related to the Trinity. Can you tell me?
It's not related to the Trinity in terms of the whole. So the Holy Mother, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Wait, hold on. Let's just so I understand what you're saying.
Specifically the Son. Specifically the Son. Specifically the Son.
Specifically the what?
The Son.
The Son, yeah. And the Holy Mother.
Yes.
And
The Heavenly Father.
so you're saying that's the Trinity?
No, I'm not saying that's the Trinity, but that leads on, as that's why we're claiming.
You're saying the Holy Mother.
But he said no, so then.
So in terms of hold on. Let's I understand what you're saying. In terms of attributing divinity, yeah, there's an attribution to divinity to the Holy Mother.
Yeah, I was just thinking about you. Yeah? I thought he was in Scotland. How come he's still here? Sorry.
Leads on to the Trinity in terms of attributing the divinity to the Son and therefore the Holy Spirit.
The thing is, I know about.
Asman, how are we going to speak about the moment?
Sorry, I can carry on.
Wasim.
Okay, Asman,
I'm just answering this
okay, the movement say we don't worship
I'm just answering this
Okay,
question.
the movement is worship
I would love to resolve your concern. I would love to resolve your
We'll do it another time.
We'll do it another time. Just because we started off.
Okay, well, let's go back to the main thing.
And the main point.
Main point is, the Bible asked me how do you know it's corrupted, and I was saying about the teaching that that's not the teaching of God for someone to die for your sins. You see what I'm saying? That is not the teaching of God. You see what I'm saying? Likewise, not the teaching of God that God regrets. That is not the teaching of God. Likewise, when you see that, for example, when it says in Genesis, God looked upon the earth and he see humans doing evil, he regrets creating human beings. Regret is an imperfection. You know, it's not perfection. Likewise, I don't believe that God would choose a liar, deceiver, adulterer to be prophet of his. That doesn't make any sense. You know why? So David, according to the Bible, he was a liar, he was a deceiver according to the Bible. I don't believe that at all. Okay? He was a liar.
You don't believe David?
No. Because I believe, which is a logical point, I believe in David, but I don't believe David will set up his...
You don't believe that account of...
Also, I don't believe that the prophet Lut will get drunk by his own daughters and he slept with them. I don't believe that, because I believe God always protects his prophets and messengers from falling into dirty, evil sin. Why? Because logic dictates, imagine someone comes and you know that he slept with his own daughters. Would you let him to teach your children? What about the most wise? Would he choose someone to go convey his message and people know he slept with his own daughters? If you know you're a dodgy guy. That's why one of the criteria of the prophets and messengers, it is well known, well established amongst their nation, they were honest and truthful and good people. So when you look at the teaching of the Bible and the passages and how they spoke about God, how they spoke about the prophets of God, you can see clearly that is not the teaching of the Most High.
I mean, that's an interesting point. So you're basically saying from Genesis all the way through to the end, Revelation, you believe everything's corrupted. You don't
No, not everything, not everything. Okay. I believe, for example, when Jesus said, "Oh, hear children of Israel, our God is one." I accept that God is one.
Okay.
Likewise, I believe that God spoke to Moses. I believe, there's many things I believe, but overall, there's many things which doesn't make any sense. That's why we believe, based upon God's mercy and His justice, He sent the Prophet Muhammad. One of the reasons He sent Prophet Muhammad with another book to clarify the truth to us. Yes, the previous books was from God. However, the people start changing it. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran. He says, "Woe to those وَيْلٌ الَّذِينَ يَسْمَعُونَ كَلَامَ اللَّهِ ثم يحرفونه. Woe to those who hate the speech of Allah, then they change it.
I mean, similar sort of scriptures inside the Bible too.
Yeah, but there's one line like that about anyone that change something from the book or add to it or remove to it, then they will be punished or something.
Yeah. But what's important to understand, especially with the Bible, with any sort of scripture, from what I know of scripture, is that each book has its own author. Yeah. So even the Bible itself is called it's the book of books. That's what the Bible means.
Yeah, Bible, Biblos,
So,
mean book of library.
books.
Biblos, good book.
So it's important to.
Good book, by far. That's a good book.
Yeah, this one proper.
That's a good book when it comes to forgeries in the Bible and that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, very good.
Oh, right. No, listen. It's important to I've never seen this book before. So
But if you can purchase it. It's very good, man. It's a very good book.
Even there's a misquote
It's a
Jesus.
world-renowned authority on the Bible.
Misquoting of Jesus.
There's another book called Misquoting Jesus.
All right. So obviously, even if you have a book like this, say something's been forged, someone's been misquoted, in order for you to know that it's been forged and misquoted, you must have some original texts.
Yeah, he's a scholar of that field.
Bert Harmon is
He's
world-renowned.
probably the best when it comes to.
Sure, and listen, I take your word for it.
He will tell you if you read. Sorry to cut you, Usman. If you buy his book Misquoting Jesus, in the introduction he will tell you he was a proper Christian. He was studying everything. Then he came across many contradictions and many things that didn't make sense to him. So he asked the teacher, and the teacher said to him, he said, there's no problem. So he said, if we acknowledge there is a problem with the Bible, how do you know about the rest of the things? That could be another problem. So he said, it's not having doubt and everything, but it's well established among the Christian scholars that he's a scholar of Christianity. You see what I'm saying? And you can establish it easily, like I was earlier on showing two Bible. King James and New World Translation. New World Translation, he says that it's been revised by hundreds of scholars. Well, like established scholars, and they say King James is wrong. So you have two Bible. One Bible, there is, for example,
You can hold it up, Rock, and
they put the woman and stoned adultery woman. And he says that the 100%.
you're a good model, brother. Thank you.
According to the New World Translation, that story is fabricated story. It's not true.
Right, so they say it's not in there
It's not in there. So there's not. He says someone added. Why? Because they're saying the later manuscript supposed to be based upon the earliest manuscript. But guess what? The early manuscript, that story is not there. So where are you writing from? Who did you get that story from? You see what I'm saying? So, and you know what's funny? Because it's not funny, it's amazing how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran that the people of the book have changed their books. And the Prophet Muhammad saying that to the Arabs, to the Christians and the Jews, and they said no. But now we're coming to, by the Christian scholars, they are bringing many Bibles. And there's many Gospels. There's Gospel of Mary, there's Gospel of Savior, there's Ebonites, there is the Nazarenes, many sects believe different things. So now we're coming to know, yes, there is many Bible and it's been changed. So how Prophet Muhammad was in the middle of the desert, he never had those access to all the manuscripts to come to know this change, did not change, except that is what from the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from the Creator, who informed him of this.
Listen, I mean, when was that written? When you say that was actually written?
Which one?
What you just said. You said it was changed. You said Allah told
Prophet Muhammad.
Yeah.
That was 600 years after Jesus.
600 years.
After Jesus, yeah. 600 or something. Because Prophet Muhammad came after Jesus. 600 years.
Yeah, of course. So at that time, the scriptures, or I mean, I don't even like to say Bible. The reason why I don't like to say Bible is because someone had to have compiled those books. You know, the Bible just wasn't just one book. You know, you've got different accounts of specific books and specific authors. So it's important to be able to find the original, the manuscripts of those authors for one. I can't look at the whole book in its entirety and make a judgment. I cannot, because they're individual books. Now, and for that same reason, I can't dismiss a book until I read it.
Can I ask you something?
So it's important to read things in their entirety.
Yeah, but Osman, look, you worship the Creator, and you want to worship correctly, correct? Everyone knows that. Imagine I bring you a book here, and say, this book said this and that. But you don't know who wrote it.
Don't know who wrote it?
Yeah, you don't know who wrote it. Okay? Or for the sake of argument, there is a name, but how can you establish that person wrote what is in here? How can you establish that? For example, to make clear to you, the Bible that you have is based upon the manuscripts. And I'm not talking about, because there's many manuscripts of the Bible, the New Testament, but not full manuscripts.
And the Old Testament?
Yeah, no, especially the New there's many.
What about the Old Testament?
The Old Testament, the earliest manuscript that you have, especially for the 5 books, is 900 years after Moses. So there's 900 years gap between Moses and the earliest manuscripts. So basically 900 years, someone who's writing it, Moses said this and Moses said that. The question you ask yourself, who wrote that manuscript in the first place?
So wait, you don't believe that?
No, that's the difference between us and the Christian when it comes to the Quran. The Quran was not based upon manuscripts that we found in the cave and we dust it out and we say, here we go, believe what is in here. No, we don't do that. That's why one of the miracles of the Quran, that Allah made it easy for the people to memorize it, and it was passed down to us generation by generations. You know what I'm saying? So it was like a living thing. Meanwhile, I mean a living thing, because I want people to misquote me, that you believe the Quran is created. No, a living thing meaning that from the time of Muhammad Prophet used to teach his companions to memorize it, because the Arab back then, they had no books before that. Their nature was just to memorize. Like example, you have children, and you say, you know what, forget about the smartphones, so forget about the pen and the book, just utilize your memory. You know how the memory will be very strong? It will be very, very strong. Always exercising it to memorize. So from their nature is to memorize 500 lines of poem and so on. So they memorize the Quran, they taught their students read out to them. That's how pass on the Quran to us. That's why, you know, I have my daughter, she's not even 6, and she knows 5 chapters from the Quran by heart. You know what I mean? So that's the point here is, the earliest manuscript, the full one you have, is literally like a few hundred years after the authors.
What you've got to understand is that when you say the earliest one I have, the earliest manuscript I have,
according to Christians,
even if you look at Christians in the Old Testament, believe in the New Testament, Old Testament, and if the Old Testament predates, let's see. My question is this: do you have your own account of what Moses said, Abraham said, or are you? I mean, how do you learn of Abraham and of Moses?
In the Quran, Allah.
So is that your only basis? Is that your only account of those prophets?
No, that's hadith.
Or are there other accounts of those prophets?
No, when you come to prophets, like, let me explain something. Muslim scholars, historians, when they write about prophets and messengers, they do use the Bible sometimes.
They do?
Yeah.
Wait. So Muslim scholars use the Bible?
Yes, you know why?
What part of the Bible?
I'll tell you what. Because
No, not why.
No.
What part of the Bible did they use?
For example, about Abraham. How old was he?
I see.
So they go and they read what they say, that's what is in their books. Why? Because Prophet Muhammad told us that we are allowed to narrate from the previous books on the condition doesn't go and guess clearly with the Quran, teaching from the Quran or teaching Prophet Muhammad. So we use the criteria.
So everything else so everything that doesn't go against teachings of the Quran and the Prophet Muhammad is okay in the Bible.
No, we don't say it's okay. We say sometimes we accept it, sometimes we say we don't know. If it doesn't go against it or doesn't contradict it, but it seems like very weird, then or it doesn't agree with the Quran, we say we don't know. For example, which let me ask you something.
As a historical record.
No, as a merciful God. Would you?
I mean, it's historical record.
Look. But anyway, let's go to the main point here is look. I can see you're a wise man, Osman. Inshallah, yeah. You know it's inshallah.
No.
Inshallah, I mean by God's will.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Osman. So what you should do? We study. You know what I mean? Why is the Prophet of God? Why do we believe in him? His teaching. Like you know, I'm not me saying that. Even the non-Muslim historians, there is no one that we know about him more than the Prophet Muhammad. Like Prophet Muhammad knew how he entered his house, how he came to his house, how he used to sleep, how he used to eat. Like when you read his Sunan, which is his prophetic, his life and his tradition, as if you are living with him. So I'm saying because his companions, they were doing everything to preserve his teaching. Likewise the Muslims. Because the difference between Christianity and Islam, before Prophet Muhammad passed away, Islam already had control. They had the power. But Christianity, before Allah raised Jesus, the Christians were weak. So the Romans, they were having more power than the other ones. So the Christians were getting scared. That's how hide their teaching. But the Muslims, they didn't have to hide their teaching because they have the power. So their teaching was open. everyone was learning it. You understand? That's why, you know, for centuries, Muslims were the rulers of the world. It's no Islamic civilization from the Arab Peninsula to China to Africa to Paris. You see what I'm saying? So, alhamdulillah, your father was a Muslim, you know.
Father was a Muslim, yeah.
Yeah, subhanallah.
He was.
Alhamdulillah, man.
You know, I have a Muslim name.
So why don't you become Muslim?
Well, listen, before I become anything, I have to read, open my eyes, and more importantly, understand what I'm getting into. At the end of the day, there's no point taking another man's word for it. A man can be wrong. And it's important. I believe that God is the same God back in the day of Prophet Muhammad, in the day of Jesus, in the day of Abraham, in the day of Adam. I believe it's the same God. So there'll be no reason why.
That's a gift for me.
What's up?
Jesus in Islam, in Christianity, in Jewish Talmud.
Interesting, okay.
Very nice book.
Okay, alright,
Yeah.
no,
So you
I'll
can read
definitely
it and you can give me your feedback. I need to pray Asr literally. I'm late for prayer.
I'll read it. If I see you again, I'll give it back.
You want to take my number? No, it's a gift. I'm not going to take it back.
Yeah.
Maybe you can give it to someone else.
Okay.
Inshallah.
Alright, I'll read it.
Osman, thank you very much for stopping to me. Yeah?
For sure,
Look
bro.
after yourself, man.
You too, bro.
I'm just going to go pray. Probably I'm going to be around.